What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of College Football Showdown here on Championship Weekend. I'm your host, Israel Rivera, here with Christian Simpson from the Daily Blitz.blog, and there goes Matt James as well. And fellas, we got a lot to discuss, but please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast before we start. You can also hear us on all streaming platforms where podcasts can be heard. Fellas, what's going on? What's going on? We're already here, Championship Saturday, on the couple weeks away from college football playoff.
Yes, sir. This season went fast. I mean, we're already here on championship weekend. Just looking at a couple games now, it's gonna be a good weekend. So it should be.
Absolutely. Christian, if he's here. I don't think he's here. Might be something going on here.
Happy Friday, Christian.
Anyways, but yeah, man, there were a lot of headlines from last week. And the main one is Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss in the dust for LSU, taking $100 million contract. Lane Kiffin is leaving Ole Miss in the dust and will not be coaching them in the college football playoff. As we saw 4 coaches, I believe, get head coaching jobs. Billy Napier up out of there. By the way, Coach Summerall taking that job from Tulane. But anyways, thoughts on Lane Kiffin leaving LSU, thoughts on him not coaching in the college football playoff? I know the AD came out and said he was never going to coach. He was never going to coach the college football playoff if he took that job at LSU. Kind of feels like a sideways move, right? A lateral move, in my opinion. They are giving him a ton of money in NIL. I think it's like $25 million a year to spend on like top transfers and recruits. So I just want your thoughts on Lane Kiffin leaving Ole Miss for LSU. Could have did something special with them.
All right, Izzy, can you hear me? Is it Matt?
Yeah, I can hear me.
There he is.
All right, what's going on? Perfect. Yeah. I mean, look, the writing was on the wall for him to take this job. This happens every year. Like this is a common occurrence where head coaches are linked to other jobs. They take them and then they don't finish, unfortunately, what they started with the previous university. I mean, this happened with Brian Kelly in 2021, leaving South Bend for Baton Rouge. Lincoln Riley leaving Norman for Southern California. In this instance now, Lane leaving Oxford for Baton Rouge. I mean, I think it's a good move. Like Lane Kiffin is one of the more innovative coaches in college football. Like, because he's kept up he's kept up and he's been able to adapt to the changes of the game, in my opinion. And he's used NIL. He's used the transfer portal to its full advantage, and I think he can get LSU back on the map, in my opinion. But I will say this: I really think he's under an enormous amount of pressure because 3 coaches before him were gone and they've won championships. Nick Saban, Les Miles, and most recently Ed Orgeron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Matt, your thoughts on the job?
I mean, as he said, it's great university to go to. With LSU, it's a lateral move, but he did so much with Ole Miss on climbing up and building a program, to that tier where LSU is. It's like, all right, this is definitely, I think a money move for him. I mean, that's what it is. But the fact that he did so much for Ole Miss, he, sh- I mean, just keep going. I mean, you're close. You're in the college football playoff.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that. So in my honest opinion, it's a move that any of us probably would have taken.
Yeah, for sure.
I think because you know,
Yeah,
look,
a lot of pressure though.
you'll have good job, right? And so that's the thing, right? You'll have a lot of pressure because they're pushing out a lot of money, right? They're spending top tier money,
Hmm.
and I think Ole Miss was going to give him more money actually when it's all said and done. So he could have stayed at Ole Miss and got more money, but the lure of playing at LSU. I mean, honestly, in my honest opinion, he could have stayed at Ole Miss and created a legacy like you know Steve Spurrier created at Florida, a
Right.
legacy like Bear Bryant created at Alabama. These coaches are so quick to leave these schools so quickly. I look at a guy like Bill. I look at a guy like Bill Snyder that went to Kansas State and he stayed there for 20, almost 30 years. And he could have went. He could have left. He was at the he was at I would think it was the University of Iowa or Iowa State, one of them. And he left as an assistant coach. And he could have left for any other big time job when teams were coming knocking and knocking and knocking. But he stayed at Kansas State, and guess what? He's got a statue out there at Kansas
Yeah,
State.
and then
He's got a
another
field
guy.
named after him at Kansas State.
Yeah, and
You
then
know,
Yeah,
another
that's
guy,
life right there.
yeah, and then another guy that you bring up, like that. Look at Kirk Ferentz. He's been at
Kirk
Iowa.
France.
Yeah, he's been at Iowa for that long. I'm talking what, maybe
Exactly.
over 25 years, if
How
I'm not
many
mistaken.
times? How many times has NFL teams called Kirk France to come coach an NFL franchise over the
Yeah,
Many.
years?
and he refused to do it.
So
And
many.
Many, and he
Yeah.
refuses to go to the NFL. Like NFL teams are like have been calling his name for like the last 10, 15 years to come coach at the
yeah,
NFL level because he's a pro style coach and he refuses to do it. Refuses to do it.
yeah,
So when you look at legacy, I think Lane Kiffin kind of leaves a little bit on the table when it comes to legacy. Yeah, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be heightened expectations, but it's gonna be a lot easier for him to recruit. It's gonna be a lot easier for him to bring top tier talent in the door. Now, what do you
no,
got?
most
Now, what do you do
definitely.
with it? Now, what do you do with it? Their expectations are Lane Kiffin next year. We win a national championship. That is a tremendous amount of pressure, as opposed to Ole Miss, where it's like Lane Kiffin keep building the program, keep getting the college football playoffs. One of these days, you're gonna crack it. I think he could
Right.
have left a outstanding legacy at Ole Miss, um, but he left a lot of on the table in my opinion. But like I said, any of us would have did it, right? Any of us would have
Yeah,
went to another job. You get
Brian
you're
Kelly
at this
did it.
say you're at the same you're at the same company, right? You're in the same company and you get offered a job that's gonna maybe pay you the same amount of money, but it's gonna be a little bit more pressure. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have all the tools and the ability to succeed a little bit more and a little bit faster and maybe move up more in the food chain, right? And so I mean, think about it. I think the only job left, the head coach job left, I think at this point for Lane Kiffin to take after LSU would be Alabama, right? If something happens, Kalen DeBoer
Mhm.
doesn't succeed, Alabama starts calling Lane Kiffin's going to take that job. That
yeah,
there's no questions asked. Lane Kiffin will take the Alabama job in the future if it presents itself. So, same thing like what Nick Saban did. He was at LSU. He could have stayed at LSU, but once Alabama called, you can't turn down Alabama. Too much history there, right? And
yeah. And look at
so
what he became. And look at
yeah,
what he
and look at
That's
what
became.
true.
and look at what he became, right? So and so like I said, anybody would have did it. It's a lateral move for sure, but I think it does impact his legacy. Hopefully, it doesn't impact it on the negative side. Because he showed recently. I mean, he really revamped his career after that Raiders job, right? I mean, it was really a
Yeah.
dud when he went to the
Yeah, I
NFL out of
mean, yeah,
USC.
yeah, and that's the thing. Either you can succeed as a head coach in college, or you can succeed in the NFL, or you can do both. Look at Jim Harbaugh. I mean, Jim
Mm-hmm.
Harbaugh is a damn good football coach, and where he goes,
Yep.
he brings the winning with him. Lane, I think at the time was just a little too young, but then again, look at how Sean McVay has panned out for the Los Angeles Rams. Like but Sean McVay to me is one of the five best coaches in the National Football League.
Football
Um,
period, in my
Top three.
opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even disagree with you
Across
if
all
you
levels.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree
Yeah.
with you if you said
The
he was top
players
three.
coach,
Yeah, he is. Like
and he knows
Lane,
how to work with the players, and
right?
that's a key,
No, yeah,
vital thing.
no, you're absolutely right, Matt. But with Lane, like I just wonder what type of roster he's gonna put together because don't be surprised. You heard it here first. I think Trinidad Chambliss is gonna transfer
Oh yeah,
to
for
Baton
sure.
Rouge.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the first
Yeah.
move that's gonna happen. Is Trinidad Chambliss? He's got a year left of eligibility. He's gone. He
yeah.
is
He's
out of
going.
there.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
going to. Yeah.
and we might want to put Trinidad Chambliss at the end of the season, put his ass all the way up there at the top of the Heisman
Uh huh.
candidate list
Uh huh.
because at LSU he's gonna have a tumultuous amount of talent there in Baton Rouge, man. I mean, it's gonna be some. He's gonna steal a lot of players from Ole Miss and
Yeah,
switch
I
them
agree.
over and mesh them with the talent that they have already at Ole Miss. So we'll see how it goes, but
I agree.
definitely made waves in the headlines. We got something in the comment section. We usually Smiles K7. What do y'all think about the Heisman candidates? We usually get to the Heisman at the end of the show, so stick around. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Next thing on the slate, how Ohio State disposes of Michigan and finally ends the 4-game losing streak to the university, or was it 3-game losing streak? I'm sorry,
No,
guys.
it was 4. No, it was
4-game losing streak, like I said,
Yep.
and just dominates Michigan this year, 27-9. As we all kind of knew it was expected. Julian Sand was on point, 19-26, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bo Jackson, the other Bo Jackson, 117 yards, 22 carries, and the Ohio State wide receivers just were dazzling in this one. Jeremiah Smith made a dazzling catch. Carnell Tate continues to stand out as well amongst that wide receiver core. Brandon Ennis also had a touchdown in this game, but Michigan just didn't have enough in the passing game. Bryce Underwood only 8 completions for 63 yards and an interception. Still young team, still learning, but Michigan needs to figure out that passing game next year. They can always run the football, but when you're one-dimensional against a great Ohio State defense, it looked a little. I was talking a little crazy earlier. I said, in the game, remember I was like, man, oh my God, here we go again. Ohio State just said, "Nah, we shutting that down."
Yeah, look, I said the same thing. I'm looking at that first opening drive, and I said to myself, "Oh, here we go." Julian Sayin throws an interception, and it just seemed like Ohio State came out very sporadic. A lot of energy, and sometimes a lot of energy can hurt you moving forward. But once they settled down, got Bo Jackson going, spread the ball around Brandon Ennis, got Carnell Tate involved, got Jeremiah Smith involved, and that defense. Look, the offense just had to get them the lead. The defense would handle the rest. And where Michigan hurt themselves, I said this game was coming down to 2 keys. One, can Ohio State get off to a quick start? Yeah, they struggled in the beginning, but once they got into the red zone, they were able to settle in and they were able to punch the ball into the red zone. And on Michigan's side, could they go in the red zone? Well, they can move the ball down the field. Because Ohio State, not only are they just a great defense, they're also bend but don't break. Ohio State shut down Michigan in the red zone, and you're not gonna beat Michigan. You're not gonna beat Ohio State kicking field goals. They left too many points on the table for my liking.
Absolutely, Matt. Thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't catch the game, but I, saw highlights. But yeah, Ohio State, got off to, a ruckus start, and then they settled down, like Christian said, and they played Ohio State football. And all year long, I'm waiting for Ohio State, to hit a brick wall or double somewhere, and they can't do that. Like, they they are going to turn it up, at any point. And this is a whole nother level defense that they've had. Last year's defense was really good, especially with, Jack Sawyer. But this Ohio State defense is on another level. So
You
they're going to be
know,
very, very difficult to beat.
man, I'm gonna also say this. I think I've said this to Izzy, but I don't know if you and I have ever had this conversation. But when I look at Ohio State's defense, they remind me a lot of 21 Georgia. They make you think you have a chance, and then they just
Yeah,
punch you in the mouth, and then they make you one dimensional.
exactly.
They've been
Yeah, when
look,
they played Alabama each time or LSU during that time, smack.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like they had
absolutely.
great offenses, in 21, Alabama and LSU. And Georgia was like, yeah, no,
effectively.
we're shutting your ass out.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, Michigan is,
Mhm.
Underwood is, he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. I hope he stays at Michigan and continues. He's just, he's still, building. He's still growing in this league. So, I mean, Michigan was just a quarterback maybe short of keeping this competitive.
Yeah, I think Bryce Underwood, like, man, the talent's there. Obviously, he just needs to grow with some of those wide receivers. They're gonna get a lot more talent coming in next
Yeah.
season, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's he just needs to grow. We saw the same thing with JJ McCarthy. His first couple of years, he got better every year. It's all about getting better every single season. I think Bryce Underwood has the talent to excel, at the Big Ten level. We just, he just had a rough year, going up against, some of the Big Ten teams. It's not high school anymore, right? You're not going against, you're not going to everything's faster, gets faster and faster at every
You're
level.
against the big boys now.
Yeah, especially at the Big Ten level. You're going against and the Big Ten is really, I mean, the talent is really, I mean, it's really
It's
equal now
NFL
with
right there.
SEC. Yeah, it's right there. So, it's the windows are smaller. Your wide receivers you got to throw them open. You got to read defenses a lot faster. You got to process defenses a lot faster before the play even goes. And I mean, you just got to be willing to be a leader out there. And I'm not questioning his leadership skills, but he'll learn how to grow as the team goes. But Ohio State's not going anywhere, right, guys? Not going anywhere. They're always going to be there, and you gotta stay getting better to win that game. And hopefully this is like a back and forth affair. Maybe we don't get Ohio State next 8 years beating Michigan. Hopefully. Anyways, next game on the slate, man, Alabama and Auburn, as Alabama upended Auburn 27-20 in a thriller that went down to the wire here, as Alabama this was a tie game all the way down to the last 3-4 minutes of the game, as nobody expected this to happen. But Alabama, this is always a tough game in the Iron Bowl. Ty Simpson threw for 3 touchdowns in this game. And Auburn, Ashton Daniels, man, he had over 360 all-purpose yards. He had 100 yards on the ground, 108 yards to be exact on the ground, 259 yards through the air. Malcolm Simmons was the leading receiver for both sides. Thoughts on this game? I know that Auburn, they were able to control a lot of first downs. This was a nip and tuck game. Could have went either way, but Alabama pulled it out, and now they get to play in that SEC championship game against Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't catch this one, so I'll let you guys go.
Yeah, this was a trap game. This I knew this wouldn't be easy because Alabama, like Auburn, always plays Alabama tough, especially at their place at Jordan Hare. Like, and I
Yeah.
knew this would be a game, Izzy, where Alabama was going to have to earn it. Auburn just wasn't going to lay out and take the game. They were going to have to earn it. They were going to have to, hey,
Mm-hmm.
look, we got to be efficient. And I got to give Auburn credit. They shut down the run. And I honestly think when you shut down Jam Miller, you kind of neutralize the Alabama offense. It's the toughness, the grit, and the tenacity of the Alabama defense that did what they had to do. Just coming up with key stops when it mattered most and getting off the field on third down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they did their job, especially when they needed to. Auburn played really tough all game long, but Alabama, came out in the end, and they were the more talented team this year, and took one against Auburn. Next game we got on the slate, we have a upset here as number 16 Texas at the time took down number 3 Texas A&M and gave them their first loss of the season as Arch Manning and company went. They were at home this time, but Arch Manning and company went in and got a dub to keep their playoff hopes alive. I mean, very slim playoff hopes with 3 losses. Quintavion Weiser, 155 yards on 19 carries. Really big game. Arch Manning was real effective, 14 to 29, 1 touchdown. He also, was using his legs. He had 53 yards and a touchdown as well. And on the other side, man, Marcel Reed had a tough day at the office. He threw 2 interceptions back to back when they could have, the game was still in the balance in the fourth quarter. He throws 2 interceptions back to back with time still on the clock. Marcel Reed was getting hit all over. That Texas defense was flying all over the ball in this game as they won. So one thing I will say this: so we know Texas A&M is going to get in. Unfortunately for them, Texas A&M should be playing in the SEC championship, but since they lost, they are not playing in the SEC championship, and we get Georgia and Alabama coming up, and we'll talk about that later. But I think Texas A&M should be able to get that at-large bid, a nice little at-large bid. They'll definitely be playing somebody at home in the college football playoff. We just don't know who. In Texas, still, Steve Sarkisian is still chirping in the media, talk about how his team should be in the college football playoff. Thoughts on this game? Thoughts on Texas?
I mean,
Matt, you want to go
as you
first?
mentioned,
Go first, Matt.
their defense was flying in that game, and Arch Manning actually played the way he should have. Manage the game. Control the game and not turn the ball over. I mean, he's struggled at times. With all the hype and all that throughout the season, we've been talking about that. And finally, in a big time game like this against an elite defense, he went out there and helped his team win. I know the defense went out there, and pretty much won the game, I guess you could say. And, they kept it on the ground. But, yeah, I'll give it to Texas as a whole. They finally played a solid game for the first time this entire season, and they needed to.
Yeah, and I kind of want to piggyback off what Matt James just said. Matt, what have I been calling for whenever we talk Texas? Whether it's been on this show, whether it's been on the
Yeah,
site,
I mean, hook 'em,
microphone. I've been saying this
but you
usually
gotta
consistently. The Texas Longhorns needed to do what? Establish Contravian Wiseman. And I think them
bingo.
earlier in the year, they'd be in a lot better of a predicament than what they're in right now. You're on the outside looking in. Sorry, Steve. You're not going to the playoffs. Let's just call it what it is. But nah, Texas, they did a great job of containing Marcel Reed. They kept Mario Craver underneath. Most importantly, they didn't let KC Concepcion go off. They kept him
Yeah,
underneath the minute he touched the ball. They kept him underneath. But that Texas defense, that's been the backbone of their entire team. If you ask me, 2 things. One, this was Texas' most complete game of the year. And 2, damn it, I called it. I called it.
you did.
Yeah. I guess I got a question here. Bigger
Yeah, let me
win:
hear it.
Vanderbilt over Tennessee or Texas over Texas A&M?
I'm gonna say Texas over Texas
Texas.
A&M. Listen, Vanderbilt's been a good story, but it seemed like after that, that Alabama loss, they weren't really the same. Like everybody was saying Diego Pavia needed that Heisman moment and
It
he could
was
have
his
got it in.
Heisman moment though. I think that was, but they blew. They went into Tennessee and blew them out the waters
Yeah,
in
but he
Knoxville.
didn't have a good. But he didn't have a good game. Is he threw 2 interceptions?
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Mhm.
That's true. But
Listen,
I mean,
look. The Heisman winner resides. The future Heisman winner resides in Bloomington, Indiana.
I totally
I
agree with
mean,
you. I
I'm
totally
going
agree with you.
Texas. You know how much I
Yeah,
love Rocky Top, but
but here's the
Texas
thing though.
over number 3 A&M against that defense
We
and
can
that kind of
we
game.
but Christian, you're forgetting the fact, bro. He ran for 165 yards and a touchdown
Yeah,
against
he
Tennessee.
Jordan lynched it.
Bro, he had over 400 yards, 400, almost 450 yards of total offense against
Look.
Texas.
he gave the
Listen,
450 yards
Jordan
of
Lynch.
total offense.
listen.
Yeah, he
Look,
was
look. That's
ridiculous.
great. That's great, and a bag of Jolly Ranchers and all that. But nothing beats going up to
Those are good
Eugene.
Jolly Ranchers.
Listen, nothing beats going up to Eugene and beating
Early
the
in the
then third-ranked team in the nation in the Oregon Duck. That was the
well, let's
Heisman moment right there.
Uh,
let's see what he do against Ohio State
yeah.
tomorrow. Next, we talk about the college football playoff rankings. Actually, I thought that was gonna be a segue into that. But yeah, college football rankings. Here we go. Number 1, number 2, Indiana, Ohio State. That's gonna be the game of the week. Pretty sure on Christian slate. Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon. Ole Miss is in there. At large bid, at large. Look, you guys see it. North Texas is ranked. James Madison is ranked. Tulane's ranked. If Duke beats Virginia, there should be 2 at-large teams. I mean, 2 power. There could very well be 2 G7 schools though that make it, right? So you could possibly have James Madison and maybe Tulane in there, possibly, right?
Yeah.
Tulane.
Yeah, you possibly could have both of them in
I
there,
called
right?
that one.
So and so that's gonna ruffle some feathers. Miami folks think that they should be in over Notre Dame. We talked about this last week. For sure.
I mean, feathers are always ruffled at this time.
Oh, for sure. That's
I
why
mean,
they're all
that's the
talking
fun
about.
of it,
And that's why they're all talking
Who
about.
should be in, who should not. And it's like, all right, let's keep it expanding. No, that's just, pick the best 12 teams that have been, working at it. I
Yeah, and
mean,
that's why they keep talking about 18 teams expansion. I mean, I don't get that.
yeah, I mean, it's just like the college basketball. Do not expand it outside of 68.
No,
You
don't.
have a
It's
system
just
working for you.
yeah,
Have a system working for you with a 12 team.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely,
And it's
absolutely.
like, look at their wins, look at their losses, look at, everything. Do your study, do your work.
BYU has a big chance to make the college football playoff. Texas Tech, if they beat Texas Tech gets in that large bid. BYU gets in.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of scenarios in championship weekend that's gonna be a crazy domino effect, especially if Duke upsets Virginia, BYU upsets Texas in the Big 12 championship game, which very well could happen. There's gonna be some real big domino effects happening. And some teams that may get in or may not. Anyways, but if the college football playoff did start today, you'd have the 12th best G7 team going into Eugene. That's a BTA. That's a BTA right
they
there.
might
Probably
score a
have
touchdown.
Tulane going in there. Might go Tulane going in there. That's BTA. You have Alabama going up against Oklahoma. Whatever other conference champ, probably either Virginia or whoever, going up against Ole Miss, and then you'll have Notre Dame and Texas A&M in a rematch, and then you'll have another if Notre Dame wins that, they have another rematch with Indiana, but this time in Bloomington, and I would be I will get all the popcorn ready. I will get all the popcorn ready to
That'll
watch.
be a good one.
Actually, they won't play in Bloomington. They'll be playing in.
No, they'll be in
a bowl. I
Sugar or
forget
somewhere.
whatever bowl game it'd be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be one of them damn bowl games. But
Yeah.
Christian, I'll get all my popcorn ready for that one to see
Look,
that rematch right there.
Izzy, listen. If this happens, I might have to slide out there with you. I'll bring the food. You just had a TV ready, and
Hey,
I'll slide nephew a couple dollars too.
Absolutely,
just gotta
man.
pick me up.
I got
Absolutely.
you. You already.
Absolutely.
I'll pay for the food too, and
All right, pull up
And
for
I'll
it.
so
pay for gas, all that shit,
in
whatever you need.
championship weekend, we have a lot of teams playing in the conference championship, but these are the games that really are going to matter and shake up outside the games that are being played today, which is Tulane in North Texas, which Tulane has a 24-7 lead so far in the AAC championship game, and the Sun Belt championship game, which is pretty nip and tuck. James Madison with a 3-point lead late in the fourth right now against Troy. But starting off with the first game on the slate, we got Duke versus number 17 Virginia. And a lot of people are pretty just like tired of the ACC. You don't even have the two best teams in the ACC playing in the ACC championship game, which should be probably what Miami should be in there, possibly Georgia Tech. I think those are the two best teams in the ACC. But for whatever reason,
SMU.
Miami wants to
Yeah.
complain and say they should be in over Notre Dame. But you lost to unranked Louisville, and you lost to unranked SMU. So this is where you're at. You got to wait for other teams to win and for the committee to make sure that you get in, which I don't think is going to happen. But anyways, this should be a really competitive game, in my opinion. I don't think Virginia should be. They're only favored by 4 points. Duke has a very talented quarterback in Darian Mensah, who can really fling the football. He's a dual threat kind of guy. And so Virginia really has to be careful. If Duke wins this game, they don't get into the college football playoff. Right? I said that because they're not ranked in the college football playoff. So they ain't getting into the college football playoff. It'd be either two G7 schools, or I don't know how it goes. But Virginia loses this, there will be no ACC representative probably in the college football playoff, which is crazy to me.
If Duke wins, it might be James Madison and Tulane.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It might be just James Madison and Tulane getting in, which is
if
crazy.
Duke pulls this off, but I don't think they will.
Which is crazy to me. And guess what, guys? Y'all see it at the bottom. That's my upset of the week, because I just like chaos and I want to see chaos. I want to see.
I called Duke out at the beginning of the season.
I would love to see a Sun Belt team,
but they're not going to win this.
I would love to see two little guys make the college football playoff. That's where we can all say the little guys championship. That shit matters, bro. Like if you're
the next Boise State,
if you're in a MAC, if you're in a WAC, if you're in this, that, and the third, if you're a little guy and you are one of the top 25 teams, as what Northern Illinois kind of was for a week or two, right? When they beat Notre Dame, all they had to do was win out and they would have made the college football playoff, right?
Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah.
It matters. And James Madison, just crazy story. I mean, these guys were in the FCS a couple years ago. Now they might be in the college football playoff, so I picking Duke to beat Virginia. I hope that happens.
I'm with you.
The next Boise, the next Northern. Yeah.
Izzy, I'm with you. I like Duke as well.
I think, bro, honestly, when you look at Duke, I think they have all the tools to beat Virginia. I mean, they lost to Virginia 34-17 at home, but I'll tell you right now, playing a team twice, trying to beat a team twice is very difficult to do, especially in college football, in my opinion. And I think these teams are sort of evenly matched. If we get the Duke that went in to Clemson and beat Clemson, and actually Virginia beat them at home, by the way. If we get the Duke that went into Clemson and beat Clemson, that's a whole nother Duke right there. That Duke team I'm scared of right there. And they're coming off of 2 big wins. They put up 49 points. They look dominant against Wake Forest. Who hasn't? But I like Virginia. I like Darian Mensah to sling it. He'll throw about 40 times. He'll have 400 passing yards. And I like game on the line. I like Darian Mensah to make plays for Duke. He's a better quarterback. He'll be the best player on the field, in my opinion.
Couldn't agree with you anymore.
I mean, our preseason, I called Duke out to be a dark horse.
You did.
I'm gonna stick with them in this one. So give me Duke in this one to pull this one off right out of their ass.
And not to
they lost at home. They got blown out. As you said, as both of you said, teams learn from that. And this is where you learn, and they still need to make a bowl game. So
and Duke is gonna have their hands filled because look, Virginia has a guy in Jamari Taylor, came from North Carolina Central last year. He played 4 years there. He was a transfer portal guy, 14 rushing touchdowns, 5'9", 204. He's just super fast. Can really bust it on you. One of the best running backs in the ACC. So they got their hands filled trying to defend that guy. But I like Duke to win this. I like chaos. I'm going for Duke on the upset of the week. And yeah, I think it's pretty decent odds for them to win. I think on the money line, especially on DraftKings, they're a plus 150. So why not throw 100 on Duke and see what happens. Next game we have on the slate, we got number 11 BYU going in at number 4 Texas. Well, playing number 4 Texas Tech, and I believe this is going to be in Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. So this is going to be in Jerry World for the Big 12 championship game. And man, you have some decent star power. You got Baron Morton. You got the Bachmeier brothers there at BYU. I mean, you got LJ Martin, and honestly, you have in the headlines Kalani Sitake. He's in the headlines. Remember, he's rumored heavily to take that Penn State job. And guess what? All of Utah, they got all the Mormon Power Rangers together, and they put all their rings together, and they went Mighty Mormon Ranger Power Time, and they put all the money together, and they're going to offer Kalani Sitake an offer he cannot refuse at BYU. They're saying enough is enough. We're keeping him for a long time, trying to make him probably the richest coach in college football, which is crazy to me. But anyways, who do you guys got in this game? Two teams that can really put points on the board in this game.
Yeah, they really can. And when these two met the last time, this was all Texas Tech from the get-go. Dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And the thing I like about Texas Tech is they can muck a game up, they can ugly it up, or they can slow a game down. And there's one player you didn't mention, Izzy, Cameron Dickey. Look out for him because he took this game over the last time these two played. And, BYU, they bounced back nicely since that beatdown on November 8th. They can score and they can score. They can slow the game down. They got to get LJ Martin going because when he didn't get it going the last time, BYU got behind. They got behind the sticks. They were down. They were punching them out. You got to get Texas Tech all the credit. I do like Texas Tech in this one. I just think across the board, they're a little more talented, and I trust Baron Morton a little bit more than I do Bear Bachmeier.
Yeah, this is a different, Texas Tech team that we're used to. Yeah, can you hear me?
Hopefully we didn't lose him, is he?
No, he's here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a different Tech team than we're used to.
Okay.
I mean, one that can shut down other offenses. I mean, we're used to the shootouts, like left and right from Texas Tech.
All right,
like their defense is not.
This game?
You said
can
what?
You hear me?
Till he comes back.
Oh no, we can hear Matt James. I don't think you can hear him.
No, okay. I can't hear him.
Oh yeah, he's talking. He's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
like all right. The
Finish up,
shootouts
man.
back in the day, like the Mahomes Kingsbury days, where they have to score 60 points to win, 60 to 56 or whatever. Um, this BYU team, you know, they can play, solid both sides of the ball, and I like Bachmeyer. He's a good quarterback. They got a good run game, but I'm going to take Tech in a closer game than when they played. I mean,
Mm.
it'll be a little bit more of a shootout. Just, it's less of a chess match than we're used to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first time around. It's like, all
yeah.
right, first one to 40 or 50.
I'm going to take Texas Tech as well. Texas Tech has a lot of athletes on that field, and I think BYU it's going to be much of the same in this neutral site game as well. But you know what? I think you know Kalani Sitake is going to have these guys ready to play. I like Bear Bachmeyer. He's a tough nosed quarterback. He's only a freshman, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, him and his brother are a dynamic duo. So I still like Texas Tech, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than what it was in the first game. Moving on to the next game, and that is the SEC championship game, where we should have probably had Georgia and Texas A&M, but since Texas A&M lost, Alabama slides right into there, and they are playing Georgia again. And if we all remember, they played each other week 4 in between the hedges. And guess what? Alabama won that one 24-21. And that was the game that really ignited the rest of Alabama season. Because, after losing up Florida State, you play Louisiana Monroe, you play Wisconsin, you beat both of those teams. They're terrible. But here's the real test, right? Georgia. You're going to number 5 Georgia. You play number 5 Georgia. And guess what? Ty Simpson had himself a hell of a game. He threw for 276 yards in that game. Isaiah Horton had 65 yards, a touchdown. But it was just a really great game for them defensively, as they were able to limit Georgia from doing, what Georgia does. And this was a really tough game, as it always is, for between these two teams. But we have a SEC championship game to play, and both of these guys are the cream of the crop of the SEC once again. Christian, I'll go with you first on this game.
Yeah, I mean, anytime these two play, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard nosed. It's gonna be physical. These two teams know each other very well. But this team has been Kirby Smart's kryptonite. I think he's only beat them once since he's taken
Yes.
over as the Georgia head coach. But when I look at
Yes.
Georgia, here's the thing. They're not an offense that's gonna wow you. They know how to pick their spots. Yeah, they can throw for 400 yards if they want to, but that's not their philosophy. Their philosophy is what? Get downhill, run the football, establish Nate Frazier. Everything is going to take, and everything else will open up. The running game opens up the passing game. This Georgia defense is a little less experienced. Their pass rush isn't that good, but they're still one of the best when it comes to stopping the run. And then I look at Alabama, and, I think we prematurely threw the towel in on this Crimson Tide team early on after just losing and embarrassing themselves to the Florida State, embarrassing themselves against the Florida State Seminoles in week 1. But now, look at where they are. I mean, Kalen DeBoer has his men playing with the utmost confidence, and they're playing with energy. But most importantly, they're playing with one another. So my X factor for Georgia is Zachariah Branch. He's the splash playmaker. He's the guy that can open up the offense. He's going to see a lot of one-on-ones because what's Alabama going to do? They're going to come out and they're going to want to stop Jam Miller. They're going to load up that box. They're going to stop Jam Miller, and you can't double and triple everybody. And then on the other side for Alabama, it's Ryan Williams. For me, I think he's the X factor. If he can get it going, he is their best splash playmaker. And if he can get it going, good things are going to happen. This comes down to the fourth quarter. I like Alabama by a field goal, 27-24.
Matt.
Yeah, I mean, go, going off of what Christian said, I mean, I believe this is, you know, all right. Going off of actually what we said, other games, you get a second chance, like the Duke Virginia. I think Kirby Smart, figures it out. He lost by 3 last time. I think he'll figure this out and, keep it on the ground, play the trenches, and I'll give it to Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, yeah, I'm kind of tough. This is gonna be a tough game right here, but I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna go. I'm actually gonna go Georgia as well. I think that this time around they get out the they kind of mill out that tough win against their great rival in Alabama. Defensively, man. I mean, I love LT Overton on Alabama's defensive line. He's a game changer for them. And obviously, Georgia, same thing on the other side. I mean, they got guys that are game changers as well. Defensively, as always, for Georgia. But I do like that, Zachariah Branch. I think he's a hell of a player, man. I think he's a guy that can open up the top of the defense, and he can get it going. And just well balanced, right? Running attack. Gunnar Stockton's a dual threat guy. He's very accurate with the ball. He's completing 70% of his passes. So yeah, I do like Georgia. To win this football game. It's going to be a hell of a game. But I think that Georgia pulls it out on a field goal. This may go to overtime, and I'm hoping for overtime because it'd be a hell of a game if it does.
That'd be great.
It'd be a hell of a game if it does. And then last but not least, I saved the best for last, the Big Ten championship game. And I think we all have been waiting for this one. And we all kind of knew that these two teams would clash in the end as we got number 2 Indiana playing number 1 Ohio State. We have 2 Heisman candidates. I kind of brought this up last week about Julian Sand and Fernando Mendoza. You got 2, really good teams playing against each other. You got, a trio of great wide receivers, best defense, I think, in college football in Ohio State. And I think this is just going to be a hell of a game against 2 opponents. And I don't think Ohio State has seen a team this good in Indiana and as battle tested as Indiana all season, and to have to see them in Lucas Oil Stadium tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'll start with you, Christian. Your thoughts on this game?
Izzy, Matt, you already know. You
Yes,
all
sir.
Listen. I need y'all here.
There we go.
I've been waiting on this one. Let's do it on my count. 1, 2,
2,
3.
3.
Shameless
Shameless
plug
plug number
number 1.
1, baby.
Listen, we've been waiting for this. I mean, we know this is a head-on collision course, and you talk about strength facing strength. Indiana averages 44 points per game.
Oh, man.
Ohio State only gives up 7.9 points per game. So, look, one of these objects is gonna break, And to me, we have 2 of the best quarterbacks in the country here, and in my opinion, the presumptive front runner for the Heisman and Fernando Mendoza and Julius saying, and I really like how Julian's climbed the ladder. Like each week, he's improved and he's gotten better. But this Ohio State offense is no slouch either. They have playmakers on the perimeter. They can run the football with Bo Jackson. And when you got a name like that, you can't be no slouch.
You better run.
You better run that damn ball. But this Indiana defense is no joke either. It's 2 top 5 coaches, Kurt Signetti, Ryan Day. Man, it's just crazy because I don't think, excuse me, I don't think this is the only time we see these 2 play. I think they're going to meet up again in the playoffs once more. And it's just, it sucks that one of these teams is going to lose. I preview this one tomorrow afternoon, about an hour or 2 before the game. Be on the lookout.
All right.
Be on the lookout for that. At the
Excited.
dailyblitz.blog, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys don't want to miss it. I mean, when it comes down to Ohio State and Indiana, in my opinion, and I'll let you go, Matt James. Go ahead first
I mean,
before I go.
both these teams, Ohio State was Ohio State. I'm going to say that first. I might say it again. But Indiana has impressed me because I said, Oregon was the best team at that point when Indiana went into Eugene and kicked their ass. And they took it to them. And they shut down Oregon. Um, but after that, I don't think they've done well. I'll give them that. But you're going up against Ohio State, who knows how to win this kind of game.
Woo!
I'm
That
taking
is.
Ohio State, and I'm going to take them. It'll be a comfortable win, but it'll be a fun game to watch.
So this game is basically the unstoppable force versus the movable object.
Yeah.
Right? It's a bend or break game, right? Christian said it. I mean, almost 45 points a game. Indiana, Ohio State's only giving up 7 points a game. Two of these quarterbacks are the two most efficient quarterbacks in the nation. And when you look at the rosters, I mean, very similar, right? Ohio State on one end, Julian Sand, Bo Jackson, James Peoples, right? CJ Donaldson, they got a three-headed monster, right? At running back. They can run the football really well, right? And then obviously they got the best wide receivers, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, right? But then on the other side, when it comes to Indiana, I mean, you got the Heisman front runner in Fernando Mendoza. You have a guy in Roman Hemby, who is one of the best running backs in the Big Ten, 6 touchdowns. Kalen Black is another one, 7 touchdowns. Kobe Martin, and then receiving the football, Omar Cooper Jr. and Elijah Surratt are some of the best duo in college, not only the Big Ten but in college football.
Couldn't agree with you anymore.
Fernando Mendoza's disposal. So two very similar teams playing against each other with a lot of weapons. I think this is going to come down to it defensively, as it always does, right? Let me tell you, man, Indiana, they can get after the quarterback, right? They got, they got 3 guys, that are over 4.5 sacks on this team. They can get after the pressure, 4 guys that are over 4 sacks on this team. They can get after the quarterback with ease. They're led by Elijah Hardy, who's one of the better linebackers in the nation. And he can get after. He leads them with 7 sacks in the nation on the team. And then on the other end, obviously led by Caleb Downs, and company. Ohio State is a buzzsaw defensively. So I do think like this game is going to come down to what team is going to make the first mistake, right? I always say you have to play, mistake-free football, right? In order to win a championship, Christian, you have to play mistake-free football. You have to play assignment football, right? So everybody needs to know their assignments. Nobody could come out of their body. It's like an orchestra, especially defensively, especially offensively. Everybody has to make their assignments. Nobody is bigger than the next guy. I don't care what that All-American status says. I don't care what everybody says about you, what your NFL draft status says. If you're a defensive end, outside contain. If you're a defensive tackle, you're in 3 technique. If you're a nose guard, you're going through the A gap. If you're a linebacker, we're your spine. You're outside linebacker, you got the hash to the sideline. You got the hash to the boundary. If you're a cornerback, everybody has to play their position. They have to play their assignment. And what happens is in close games like this, there's always that 1 or 2 plays where guys try too hard, right? And that one player breaks the band, they get out of tune, and they make that one mistake. Who's going to make that mistake in this game? Who's
Right.
going to make that defensive mistake? Who's going to make that offensive mistake? Trying to do too much, trying to get ahead, trying to get an edge, trying to make the big play. I always say this, Christian, and I know I say it at the youth level, but it travels. Football travels. It's a kid's game. It goes all the way to the pros, right? It goes all the way to the pros. Big plays will come to you. Big plays will come to you. You play assignment football. We play mistake-free football, right? Somebody's going to make a mistake, but if we play our best and we play mistake-free football, that other team they're going to see how perfect we play. That other team in crunch time is going to make that mistake. But which team is going to make that mistake? Because both teams are perfect, right? Both teams, they're not perfect. Like nobody's perfect, but both teams have a perfect record. So at this point, they're perfect because they've won every game. So who's going to make the mistake? In my opinion, I saw Indiana make some mistakes against Penn State, and Fernando Mendoza bailed them out. That will not happen against Ohio State. Give me Ohio State to win this football game against Indiana. And I just think that Indiana, the moment will be just too big for them against Ohio State. It will be a close game. It's going to be a hell of a game. But I think down the stretch, when the palms get sweaty, I was saying this, for example, Christian, I was watching Mount Carmel Oswego play in an 8A state championship game. Okay. And Oswego drove the ball down. They got the ball down there to the night. And I'll tell you this right now, guys. Mount Carmel looked like a D1 team. They got 13 D1 players on their roster, all juniors and sophomores. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And probably one senior that's going D1, and he's got 50 offers. Okay. So let me tell you, Oswego played tough in that game, and I'll tell you this right now. They got down. It was the third, fourth quarter. They got down into the red zone within the 4-yard line. And this one play where they could have got back in the game, they had a rub route. They slot wide receiver. They had 2 slants, and the slot wide receiver cut it out to it like a 5 and an out, and he was wide open, walk-in touchdown. Guess what? Palms got sweaty, hands got tight, dropped a wide open pass on his hands, right? And that's what happens in football, right? When the moment gets big, players don't know how to the simple plays where you catch the ball, you drop the ball.
Yeah,
simple plays when you make tackles. Yeah, well, it's a similar thing, right? You're playing Ohio State, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're playing Ohio State, and with the tackles you make, the tackles you miss. The wide receivers you're playing ain't the same wide receivers you saw, right? These are the best group of wide receivers you're gonna see, right? When Fernando Mendoza's breaking down the defense, that ain't no regular safety back there. That's fucking Caleb Downs.
That's Caleb Downs.
Yeah, so
he's a first-round pick.
No, he's a multiple All-Americans. He's been All-American since he was sophomore. Okay, so
he's gonna hit your ass. He's gonna get the ball.
I think Indiana's gonna be the team to make a mistake. Give me Ohio State in this game.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on that?
Nah, I mean,
congrats to Mount Carmel.
Listen, Indiana, they can't come into this game and not play the style of football that's got them this far. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't get away from what it is that works for you. You've been balanced. You spread the ball around, and I think Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt, they're gonna have to be big time today. Tomorrow, they're gonna have to be.
Gonna have to be big time. And I'll say this: the one thing, the X factor, is not any player for Indiana. You know who the X factor for me is? It's Big Kurt Cignetti. Because you know what? Big Kurt Cignetti is. I want to say, even though he hasn't played in everywhere he goes, he wins. He hasn't won a championship yet at this level, but they beat Ohio State tomorrow. They're on their way. And I think Kurt Cignetti is an X factor type of player. Just X's and O's are. But the only thing I will say, experience over everything, right? Ryan Day, guess what?
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that.
He knows.
Played in big games, won a national championship already.
Yeah, you go down 2 touchdowns early against Mendoza. They know how to come back.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Ohio State can't go down.
Exactly. They know how to adjust.
Ohio State cannot.
Does Indiana know?
No, Indiana can't go down 2 touchdowns against Ohio State.
No, they can't.
No, does Indiana know how to, adjust towards Ohio State coming back,
The offense is
tying the
explosive
game,
enough.
and being right there with them,
The
getting
offense
the
is
momentum.
Look, the offense is explosive enough to come back from 2 touchdowns against any other team, but I don't know if they explosive enough to come back 2 touchdowns against this defense in Ohio State. And on the flip side, Ohio State has a decent enough offense to come back from 2 touchdowns down. But you don't want to be down 2 touchdowns if you're either team, especially if you're Ohio State, because you don't want Indiana to get the confidence. You don't want them to get the confidence in this game. You want to keep it down.
I'm taking defense, 100%.
Down all game. I'm going Ohio State to win this football game. Next, we had Smiles K7. What do y'all think about the Heisman candidates? Look, these are the 4 Heisman candidates. There's no dark horse. There's nobody else. There's Fernando Mendoza, Julian Sand, Diego Pavia moves up to the 3rd slot. Jeremiah Love. There you go. Let's call it a day. Those are the 4 Heisman Trophy candidates that are probably going to go to New York.
I'm cool with that.
And I'm cool with that too. And I brought this up to Christian last week about who play if Julian Sand and Fernando Mendoza, who plays better, is that going to determine a Heisman Trophy? And
if we win this game, yes.
I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Christian says no, though.
Nah, I'm not. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Julian Sand's been incredible this year, but Fernando Mendoza went in to Austin Stadium, which is a very tough place to play. And they punched Oregon in the mouth.
They did.
We talk about these moments, and Izzy, I'm a reference hip hop here. In the words of Pusha T, these are the games we play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. These are definitely the games we play. And then we can't go without talking about Diego Pavia. Okay? We can't go without talking about Diego Pavia. Best season in Vanderbilt, probably history this season. He got better this year than he did last year. Passed for over 3,000 yards, rushed for over 800 yards, 9 touchdowns on the ground as well. Had over 4,000 yards of total offense for Diego Pavia, over 30 plus touchdowns, 46 total touchdowns. I mean, if we're looking at stats here, if we're just looking at stats, Diego Pavia should probably win the Heisman if we're looking at stats. But when it comes to team success, Fernando Mendoza, transferring over from Cal to, Indiana and taking him to new heights, he's got to be the top guy. And obviously, Jeremiah Love is the best running back in college football, hands down. There's no other, when you talk about duos, running back duos, it doesn't get better than him and Jadarian Price, right? So Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, and you can also throw Aeneas Williams' son in there as well, who's a hard runner for Notre Dame. But yeah, Jeremiah Love would be the dark horse in this thing, and I'm 50-50 on the Julian Sand, Fernando Mendoza. I mean, if Fernando Mendoza totally stinks it up, and Julian Sand goes out and just has a hell of a game. Julian Sand it should be real close. He should get a lot of votes at the Heisman.
Most definitely. But it's gonna be interesting. Can't wait for that here next week. I went to the Heisman event in New York last year, and this year can't wait to do it again.
Absolutely. Matt, thoughts before we get up out of here?
Oh, that's awesome that you went last year. So take pictures, photos if we can.
Oh, definitely.
Anyways, please like and share and subscribe to the podcast here at Prime Sports World. That has been a show, and please let us know what your thoughts are on the championship games tomorrow, and let us know what your college football playoff scenarios should be and will be, and who should get in. But anyways, I'm your host Israel Rivera. There goes Christian Simpson from the Daily Business blog, and there goes Matt James as well. And just like I like to say, if you didn't attend this meeting, and in case I missed you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, I would try something different. I can ride. Izzy's my boy. Forget it. Holla at your boy.
Holla at your boy. Peace out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, guys. Be safe and have a good night.